Hey, how y'all doing so much? Thank y'all so much for dropping by. I'm just about to dive right in and let y'all know what's going on when it comes to certain people that we either love or trying to get with, talk to, get to know better, dating in the dating phases, when people like to date, the cupcake phase, the honeymoon phase is what I like to call it, because after that, when you see people true colors, you really can see who they are. And you need to know the red flags. So if you are in a situation where you are looking to date, looking to get married or engaged, always make sure you look for a couple signs first. Make sure that it's a respectable relationship. You respect each other. You show gratitude if you can. If it's been a while, y'all been dating for a while, equal give and take, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, we help each other out. People love that when someone can show appreciation, that respect, put God first, respect, loyalty. Make sure you always put God first, be on your purpose, self-improve, eat right, healthy, work out, because if you're going to be strong, you're going to be spiritual. You're going to need to be mentally, physically, and spiritually strong to be to walk with Christ, so that you don't have any weak spots like that. Because if it's a weak spot anywhere, the enemy is going to attack it. If you have a weak spot anywhere, I tell people this. I say, if it's a weak spot, it's going to get attacked, whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually, however, it's going to get attacked. So make sure you do those things, and look and make sure you do a background check, on people to make sure they're not broken, heartbroken, trust issues, trauma, insecurities, always pointing the finger. These are things to look out for. So I got to start throwing that in there, because some people don't lead the people in the right direction. And being a true disciple, a true chosen one, I felt like it's right and necessary to do so, because we have a lot of people hollering about, oh, I'm chosen. Oh, I'm this. I believe in this. I believe in that. But then when you do a background check, most of them just motivational speakers. And I'm like, okay, so people don't really tell you what you should know or what to do or how to handle different situations. We have a lot of people out here that's lost. They don't have no real, spiritual Christian people around them. Only thing they're listening to is the big mega churches, prosperity gospel. It's just itching their ears, telling them what they want to hear. They're tickling their ears. They're telling them what they want to hear. And then when you come across someone like this, that's real, that's going to give it to you real, and try to stick the Bible, open Bible, scriptures and stuff like that, and try to be a true disciple to lead the people in the right direction. Some people are going to agree with it. Some people are not. That's just the way it goes. Even if it's coming from Bible, they still don't want to listen, because the idle hands is a devil workshop. So you don't want to be around anybody that don't have any purpose in life, any goals or dreams, because once again, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. They have plenty of time to plot, think of things like to destroy things or sabotage things, sit back. All they do is they just work and come home. They can get bored, and then they can start entertaining the idea of doing something nasty or vindictive or backstabbing or cheating on you or starting some type of chaos or drama with you. And that's something we don't need, especially if you're trying to live a Christian lifestyle, be spiritual, walk this holy walk, and you're just a kind-hearted, good-hearted person. You don't want these distractions. This right here, some of this stuff, it actually is unnecessary, that some people have to learn the hard way, but sometimes it's necessary to make you stronger. So when you go through certain things, you would think it's to tear you down, but it's actually to build you up. For me, for an example, I went through some hardship. I went through some hard times, lost family, bad relationships, been through the ups and downs, tried to make things work with people in the past, and I was doing it all wrong. I did not put God first. And now when I look back at it, that's why I couldn't feel that void of peace, because only God can give you peace. Only Jesus Christ can give you peace. God said, seek my kingdom first and everything will be added on to you. So you have to remember that. Now, like I said before, idle hands is a devil's workshop, and wickedness loves company. This is in the word. Wickedness loves company. And you will always be like, well, why it seem like I always pick the wrong type of person, or something's always going wrong, or I can't choose right. Why it seems like men and women are against each other now? Nobody likes nobody. Everybody is against each other because we are living in those last and evil, wicked, dark days, especially in America right now. This is a really dark time with this inflation and everybody struggling and trying to find jobs. I see massive layoffs all the time. And once again, wickedness loves company, you know, and you don't want to end up around anybody that is just on a rampage of destruction. They're headed down a dark path in their life. This right here will bring you down and tear you down. All you want to do in your mind is find somebody to love, right? Find somebody to be with, find somebody to spend the rest of your life with. We can fall into a desperate time, like you're back against the wall, feel like you're hitting the wall. I'm getting too old to start a family. What should I do? You can kind of get thrown into this, I don't want to say panic, but kind of, sort of. And you got to remember, once again, if you bump into a person that already have trust issues, heartbreak, trauma that they did not heal from, you can have a problem, a serious problem on your hands. Not saying everybody's like this. I'm just saying look out for the red flags. Do your research, your background. Are they good with their family, their mother, their dad, their grandpa, their grandma, nana? Like, do they have a good relationship with people? Do they treat their mom good, their dad good? Like, are they a loving person? Because that attitude, you have to watch it, because that is wickedness too. That is a demonic spirit on them. They don't think that they have to treat you good because they never had nobody to teach them. They didn't grow up. That's why the word says, raise your children up in God so that they will not depart from him when they get older. And a lot of people, they don't know this because a lot of people find out this later on in life. And if you find a demonic person like this, that's on a rampage and will destroy anything they touch, this right here is the idle mind. This right here is the devil's workshop. This is how he plays. He keeps working on your mind. That's what he do. He deceives you through your thoughts, through your mind. That is his strength. He's prideful. He wants you to be prideful, to think that you're better than other people. In reality, we're supposed to treat each other equal. That's why I said, a man find a wife, find a good thing. A woman that's in the Lord is to be praised. That's why a man want a good woman next to him, a helpmate that doesn't live off politics and worldly things and, oh, you got to have the latest bag, this, that, and the third. That causes problems. You don't even need all that stuff. We're going to go over that one day too as well. That a lot of people want to live worldly, and that sidetracks them from the main things that we're supposed to be focusing on: God, being on your purpose, self-improving. And then you can worry about family, because now you're well put together. You're a complete person. And when you don't put God first, how are you going to be a complete person with wickedness all around you? Guidance through the influence of social media, music. You're smoking, you're drinking, hanging, partying, fornicating. How is this godly? How is this going to make you a better person? You see what I'm saying? See how we missed the target? And then when you run into something like this, that's telling you to, hey, stay away from the devil's workshop. Stay away from somebody that have this mindset of just, I'm YOLO. I'm just going to live life to the fullest with what I don't feel like it's going to be no consequences. I can do anything I want. That is a dangerous mindset to have, because you're heading down a dark path that you don't need to be headed down. You don't. And a lot of people, like I said, it takes true godly men, real disciples, real spiritual people, real chosen ones, to lead people down the right path and the right path, so they won't lead to destruction. Because we have so many people out here on all these content creators, they ain't really telling people, hey, look out for the red flags. If a person disrespects you, calling you out your name, cursing you out, that right there is what? The idle hands of the devil's workshop. This right here is destroying people lives, because they're lustful. They're falling into temptation. They want to fornicate with them before they even put a ring on it, before they even walk down the aisle or go to the courthouse and get married. Now you're building soul ties with basically temporary person, not a forever person, not a long-term, short-term people. You know these people, half of us, that people, if we look back, right, if we look back at some of the people that we talked to in the past, it's kind of disgusting. You were like, whoa, what was I thinking? Like, but you go through these things and it builds character. It shows you, okay, not to do that again. It's like touching a hot stove. Okay, you got burned. Don't do that again. That's kind of like how life is. You get burned. Okay, don't do that again. It's like a hot stove. And I say that to say this, to get to the main point. These are some of the signs that we have to look out for. Because if you end up trying to get with somebody like this, get into a long-term relationship, move in, get, engaged or married, these are things you have to look out for, because you cannot just get a divorce and go marry somebody else. Now you can separate, okay, if it doesn't work out and you just can't get along with the person. But in the Bible, it says, if a woman divorces her husband, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband, and to death do her apart. So basically, one of you have to pass away first. Okay? You have to go by, your vows. This is a covenant that you made before God, that I'm going to be with this person forever, no matter what happens, through thick and thin. That's basically why you're tying the knot. I'm done. I don't want to date anymore. I put up my player pimp shoes. I don't want anybody else. This is my forever person. I'm comfortable with them. This is who I want. Now I go back to say this. Let's say you've been going on about 6 months to a year. Things are starting to get a little rocky, right? Starting to feel, and I don't think the spark is there anymore. We ain't dating before we got married. Some people, they try to be Christian. They try to hold out until they get married to do the adult thing and, start sleeping together and having kids and stuff like that. Now you got to that point, and now it's like, okay, we're about to bring a kid in the world. Okay. But one of you may fall away from the faith. Let's just say that happened. Use that as an example. Times are starting to get rough. Bills are starting to pile up. She's pregnant. Your wife is pregnant. You're working overtime. Inflation, bills are going up. You ain't going out no more to like movies, to the beach, long walks on the beach, going out to eat, dating anymore. Things of that nature start slowing up. Now, this is when the idle hands of the devil workshop start working on your mind. This is what happens. This is what starts to happen. He started playing on, well, if they ain't giving you what you want, for an example, here go the enemy start working on your mind, telling you things, just this delusion just come out of nowhere. Well, if they ain't satisfying you, maybe you can find it somewhere else. Whoa, wait a minute. What we just talked about. Whenever you marry somebody, you can't just divorce and go marry somebody else just because time's rough. That's why in the vows it say through thick and thin. But as people in the flesh, we tend to forget those vows, don't we? We tend to, we just want it all easy. Everybody wish it was like that, but that's not the world that we live in now, do we? That is just being real. This is, once again, when the idols of the hand of the enemy start working on your mind harder. He puts a little more pressure. The woman may go out, or the man may go out. Somebody start hitting on them. They're having problems at home. They've been arguing, fussing, and fighting at each other because of bills. They ain't really sleeping together as much in the same bed. Somebody's on the couch, Netflix and chilling. The other's in the room stressing about bills. And okay, once again, well, if they ain't gonna give you what you want, somebody else might. Maybe the grass is greener on the other side. Whoa, time out. Once again, this is how you got to break it down to people, because people think it's okay. If a woman departs from her husband, let her remain unmarried. This is in scripture. It's in the Bible. Go look it up. Go Google it. Whatever you got to do. She cannot just go walk out on her husband to go marry somebody else. That would be against the Bible. That would be against scripture, God's word. Now, man's law will allow you to do that on earth. But in the heavens, what God have intended us to do, we'll spend the rest of our life with that person until somebody passes away first. But when you get a divorce on earth in the states, in different states, you have no fault laws. A woman can just get bored and walk out the door. Like, what? Wait, what? So the man don't have no, we have a family, we have a house, cars, assets, a business. Wait, how you just gonna walk out? That's why God don't like divorces and separation, because of this. And that's why I said all that stuff at the beginning. We should have looked at their character, their personality, their background checks. Look for the red flags. Are they disrespectful? Do they curse you out? This demonic spirit that we look for on people. We don't overlook that and think we can just get married to them and change them. It's a we thing. It's not an I. We have to work together. You know? We too. Not an I. Okay, if it's I, then you can figure it all out by yourself, right? But it's not. That's why we cannot just do what we want to do if you're trying to live a real Christian lifestyle, spiritual, not lukewarm, because lukewarm is just the worst as a sinner and a non-believer. That's why I say these messages are only for real, true people that want to do right. It can't be for somebody that's gonna just like half do it. Like I got one foot in, I got the other foot out. I'm stressed out from work. She ain't giving me no loving because she's mad about bills, or, you know, she's going through her mood swings because she's pregnant. So I'm going to step out on my wife. Hold up, brother. That would be committing adultery. That would be sin. You can go to hell for that. Stepping out on your wife. Wives. Oh, husband ain't giving you no loving. You done gained a little weight. Oh, once again, what we go back to? Oh, the idle hands, a devil workshop. Oh, well, if he ain't giving you no loving, this is what the enemy will tell you in your mind. He will just creep up in your mind with a thought. That's the enemy. Oh, well, if he ain't giving you no loving, I know somebody else that will. Chad, you remember Chad and Tyrone? They're on social media. They've been sliding in your DM since you got married. Now you're thinking to yourself, well, I am in the mood. I can make up a lie and sneak out. Sister, you will be committing adultery. Cheating on your husband, that is a bad offense. Yes, you fornicate when you're boyfriend and girlfriend. You know, before you get married, you're in fornication. Now, this whole marriage it went up 1,000 notches. You cannot do that anymore. Like, your mind, if you're trying to live a Christian lifestyle, not saying perfect, we get people do slip up and mess up. But if you come across messages like this that warning you can't get divorced. You can separate because you can't get along. But if you want to get back in another marriage and that person is still alive, you have to try to work it out if it's not too far gone, like through verbal abuse or physical abuse, too much cheating. Like, you just can't. They just got to get therapy and help. And if you can't get help, there's no reconciliation because it's too bad between you two. You just can't figure it out. Now, that's sad that it can't be worked out, but that's the world. Once again, that's just the world we live in. Now, we will hope that we can. We will hope that you can work it out, because you can't just be getting these nasty, dirty thoughts in your head. Because why? The idle hands is a devil's workshop, you know. And wickedness loves company. Remember that. Wickedness loves company. And if you're hanging around people that's a bad influence, wickedness loves company. You're arguing, fussing, and fighting at work, associates, family, friends, loved ones. Wickedness loves company, and it leads to sin. This is in the word, people. This is in your Bible. You can't, like, this ain't made up. This ain't no fairy tale. This ain't fictional. This ain't no sci-fi movie. This is real. This is your life on the line. When you marry somebody, you're locked in. You're bound until somebody, a death do you apart. Do you understand that? It ain't no leaving. It's for better or for worse. Now, you can separate. You can split up. Yeah, you can part ways, but you can't be out there fornicating. If you're trying to live, once again, if you're trying to be a true holy saint, a Christian, especially if you claim to be a Christian woman or a man as a disciple, a man that's that's truly for God, he can't be doing. A pastor, bishops, ministers, they can't be getting divorced and remarried and their spouse is still living in God's law. No. We can't have this going on out here and people thinking that's okay now. And clearly the word states in the Bible, it says if a woman once again divorces her husband, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband. And she got to remember, he would have to pass away first before she can move on and marry somebody else. Let's not make this harder than what this ABC. Let's not make this harder. Yeah, it's going to be hard for some people to understand if they're in a tough situation and they, let's just say a Christian got married to a non-believer, a sinner. Now God will still honor that marriage, but now you understand why you should be equally yoked with somebody that's a Christian as well. Because if one person is a Christian, the other person is a sinner, they're going to do everything bad that I just talked about earlier. Why? Because the idle hands of the devil is his workshop. He's going to constantly be working on your partner, constantly telling them, hey, can you sneak out tonight? These are just thoughts in your head, bad, wicked thoughts from the enemy. Hey, maybe I can get out tonight and go sleep around and fornicate. Now, you on the other hand, you think your person is faithful. They may have a work husband or a work wife, whichever one. Now that's a sin. You see why you need to be equally yoked with two Christians together. That's why I think it was another video I talked about unequally yoked. I may need to go back over that one as well and dive a little deeper so we can get a better understanding to what we should look for with our partner. We don't need to be, I'm talking about this coming from the heart. I don't try to mislead nobody or misguide nobody. I just try to use examples to why I love doing what I'm doing, because I know it makes a difference that pastors, bishops, ministers, elders, or other Christians or false prophets, they're not going to talk about it because they believe in this lifestyle. They believe in treating a marriage like boyfriend and girlfriend. They believe that. Oh, well, don't work out. Oh, well, move on to the next. I had discussions with family about this, and they even kind of came back and brought it up a couple times, because it kind of made them nervous. Like, hey, I probably can go to hell if, Now, to be fair, the person that one of them was with, the person did pass away. Unfortunately, we don't want that, but if that is the only way that he was able to move on with his life, due to that reason there. And it was a lot of hurt there, a lot of pain when that was announced, because he had a kid with the woman. And so I use these testimonies in my stories to show y'all not only that I talk about this stuff, but I actually know people, talk to people about this. And I would like to finish off by saying thank y'all so much if you made it this far. And I would try to remember to either drop the link or a QR code to our ministry, my ministry and my church online, so that y'all can go over there and watch some real preaching from Pastor D.E. Wilson, my uncle. And then you will see why I'm like this and try to be a true disciple of God. And remember, these testimonies and stories are because I actually been through this before, and I almost ended up marrying a woman that I wasn't supposed to be with. So that's why I talk about this, to warn people, hey, this ain't right, and that we shouldn't be doing this. So make sure you guys remember to like, subscribe, click the notification bell, so you guys can be notified on all of the videos and the messages that I drop. Thank you so much. Love you. God bless.